something that has been very near and dear to my heart, and I think everybody in the whole world should be concerned about this, are the Chinese illegal fishing fleets.
Look at that. That's That's brighter than North Korea.
Yeah, it is. Now, this guy's name is A. Petite or A. Petit, who knows? I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce his name.
We're not endorsing the verb action of that.
Of course not.
Or maybe he's a pet tit, like a titmouse or a titbird.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yes, getting serious.
Okay, now his father apparently is on the International Space Station. Yeah, exactly. Father, a friend. His father's on the International Space Station.
Yes.
And is an avid photographer and takes these amazing photos. By the way, if you're just interested in astrophotography and like star trails and stuff, go check out that at Astro Petit over there.
Okay.
I would say petite, but
Petite, yeah, but that's even.
But you would need an E on the end, wouldn't you?
No.
Okay, all right, then petite.
I mean, I don't know. Who cares?
Okay. Go check it out if you like astrophotography. So he took this image from the ISS last month. Okay, this is a Chinese fishing fleet. And it's very concerning for a couple of reasons. We'll build up to it. But the Argentine Coast Guard actually has to fly patrols at night to make sure that these guys don't come into their waters to decimate the fish stocks. Look at that.
It's a freaking army.
It looks like a city. Doesn't it? Just looks like a skyline. And you know what that is? It's because they, like squid jiggers and so on, they like to use, they have to use these very bright lights to attract the squid and whatever things they're catching. So it's kind of like an unfair cheating kind of way of fishing.
Right.
Because they're attracted to that, right? So you shine this incredibly bright light into the water and all these, creatures come towards it and then you nab them and it's real easy and they just jig them up, This is very recent footage, okay? So they actually have to patrol to make sure these guys aren't coming into their waters to destroy the fish stocks, right?
What?
Yeah. They also appear as walls of green and blue above otherwise dark open waters in these star trail photos, okay? Look at this extension of green light off the coast where it should be pitch black. These fleets are a force so great they become their own photographic artifacts. And that's because they use green lights as well for attraction.
Oh, okay.
Like on the ship. But yeah, this is supposed to be pitch black, but what you're seeing down there is a fishing fleet from space.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so bad. We'll get into it a little more.
I mean, they're just making the seas extinct.
Yeah.
They're
Absolutely.
driving the seas extinct.
They are. They're completely...
And the Chinese government's controlling this.
Yes, they're completely emptying the seas and at such an alarming rate. It's hard to explain. When you're a kid and you hear about like the Amazon rainforest, or they cut down a football field a day or whatever, and you're like, oh my goodness, that's so terrible. Yeah. It's nothing. Nothing compared. You could cut down the whole Amazon rainforest every day and it wouldn't be as bad as what's going on here. This is real bad. Insane. Okay, I gotta show you. I'm gonna bring the receipts in a minute. But first, we have to go to the annoying smoking couple's living room so that we can look at their TV.
What?
It's important. We have to go to the annoying smoking couple's living room.
What is the annoying smoking couple?
They're annoying and they smoke a lot.
Interesting. I don't know them.
Yeah, but we have to use their TV.
Why is she smoking a little cigar?
When a vast Chinese armada of more than 300 ships appeared outside the Galapagos Marine Reserve in South America earlier this year, Ecuador's government had reason to be suspicious. In 2017, a Chinese ship was boarded inside the Galapagos Marine Park by Ecuadorian authorities. Inside, they found this gruesome haul, over 6,000 shark carcasses illegally caught.
Okay, so the reason why I'm showing it in the annoying smoking couples...
yeah, I'm like, what are you doing?
...is because it'll stop copyright.
Maybe.
Because it's got smoke and, Maybe. No, well, they invited us over to watch.
They invited us over to watch.
They're like, you can come. And
we're commenting.
Yeah, you have to put up with the horrible smoke.
Okay, I got you.
But, okay.
I like it.
Now... This is a little documentary put out by Australian News in 2020, 5 years ago. Okay. There's a reason why I'm showing this 5 year ago thing, because it'll be relevant in a minute. Okay. I just wanted to show you this one that they caught in 2017 in the Galapagos area, the protected area. Had, what did they say, 6,000 sharks? 6,000, and there were hammerhead sharks and protected sharks. 6,000. 6,000.
And it's bycatch, or that was on purpose?
What do you mean? It's on purpose. It's only sharks.
Yeah.
Because, China...
website.
Yeah, exactly. China, shark fin soup and all that.
Yes.
Do you understand how China takes the piss? There's no balance. There's no catch and release. There's no sustainable fishing. It's take everything.
Now.
Take it all.
Before our competitors get a little piece of it.
This is the way China works.
Yes.
With everything. It's take everything now.
It's an analogy for everything in China right now. The way it works under the current CCP and under the current government is that you have to destroy and take everything now and not worry about the consequences, because that's the only way they're going to get ahead.
Yeah, because the consequences aren't your problem.
Yes.
And, can you imagine you've got a protected species in the Galapagos, and one Chinese fishing vessel goes in and takes 6,000 of them without any care. This is just the one that got caught, by the way.
The one.
There are something like 17,000
what?
Fishing vessels from China.
Let's continue. I'm getting angry.
Yeah, okay, so let's keep going, all right?
The crew was jailed and the owners fined. Although this year the fleet appeared to remain outside the marine park, the sheer size of it sparked concern.
I want you to pay attention. Do you see how close they are to the edge?
Oh, they know.
Well, of course. Well, now, because that's the EEZ, that's the protected zone. What you'll find out later is that they actually turn their transponders off at night and go into the zone.
Yeah.
And you can't track them.
No.
When they go in, when they turn off their transponders, you can't track them anymore. Right? So they just go in there and they fish anyway, but they do it in a sneaky way. So you can see them dancing around the edges, but that's when they've got their transponders on. And then they turn them off, go in, fish, come back out, that type of thing. Also, come on, fish don't know borders, right? So if you've got protected species over there, they're just going to swim out to where the lights are or whatever and get caught. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's carry on.
China is a fisheries superpower. With the world's largest fishing fleet, the mainland now consumes around 38% of total global fish production and hauls in 15.2 million tonnes of marine life a year, or 20% of the world's entire annual catch. The Chinese government says its distant water fishing fleet numbers around 2,500 vessels, but other estimates put it as high as 17,000. In comparison, the US has around 300.
Okay, 300 is
that are following the rules, by the way, to a T.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you know how they say, "Oh, we only have 2,500." Okay, riddle me this: you and I both visited fishing villages in China.
Yeah.
I think we saw 2,500 in a day.
We did. Yeah.
Yes, in one place, busy in one port. Yes. Let's be honest. We know that there's more than 2,500 what they claim.
Yes.
Because remember when we went to that Rongcheng or whatever, where they had all those, and we flew the drone over all those fishing vessels. There's hundreds of them there.
Yeah.
And that's just one, and those are the ones in the port, not the ones out at sea. Yeah. And down in Huizhou and Huidong and all these other areas we went to, we saw so many fishing boats. It's ridiculous for them to claim that there's only 2,500 when we've seen with our own eyes more than that.
Yes.
You know?
The thing is, I think the documentary is great, but I don't want people to get confused. They're not just doing this outside of the Galapagos. It's the whole world.
The whole world. Okay. Africa has a huge issue because they work with the corrupt officials there and they fish right inside all of the African coast there.
That makes sense.
In my own country, South Africa, they've decimated the seas just off the coast. That's what they do. South America, of course, is one of their biggest places they go. So that's why Argentina and the Galapagos and Ecuador and all this stuff. But they go everywhere. Everywhere. They fish in North Korean waters.
Yes.
Which they're not supposed to.
They fish near the U.S.
Yeah, they do.
Near Alaska.
They fish everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. And they just go out there in these huge, it's like a city, goes out wherever it wants. And it's much more sinister than that, which we'll get into in a minute.
China, more than any other fishing fleet in the world, travels further, stays at sea longer, pulls up more fish than any other fleet. Around the world, Chinese vessels are routinely and aggressively entering national waters.
China insists it is working to ensure its fishing fleets are acting sustainably and legally. It announced a partial moratorium on squid fishing in South America. And Beijing's 2020 white paper on fishing says...
See, this is the important part. Remember, we showed you that shot from space earlier is now.
Now.
That was like a week ago.
Yeah, so it's good to look back at 2020
This
and
is
see what they
2020.
promised.
5 years ago,
Let's see what they promised.
they put out a 5-year plan, and this is what they promised.
It will, in its next 5-year plan, commit to severely crack down on IUU fishing activities, strictly regulate fishery behaviour, and promote the high-quality development of offshore fisheries.
Shut up. They've only
But-
increased.
Yeah, exactly.
They've only increased.
Doesn't it show you everything the Chinese government says is a lie? And
That's
it's just
why-
there to placate people so they can continue to be bad.
That's why there can never be deals with China.
Yeah.
You can't strike a deal with China. You can't say, "Let me hear your side of the story." We'll trust you if you put this order in for protecting the environment in 5 years. Nothing comes to fruition.
No.
China's a liar. It's a cheat.
Exactly.
It's a horrible, horrible government.
It is, and I mean this is proof. They put in their 5-year plan. Oh, we're gonna crack down on this. We're gonna do sustainable, whatever. No, look at how much bigger those offshore fleets have gotten. Look at they're still doing it. They're still at the Galapagos. They're still doing everything they were.
Yes.
But let's get into it more.
Experts are sceptical.
And in China, unfortunately, illegal fishing is still seen as just an administrative matter.
China is also accused of using its fishing fleets to assert its sovereignty around the world. Another reason a new Chinese-funded fishing development in Papua New Guinea has raised eyebrows in Australia.
The Chinese, in many cases, are using their fishing fleet to assert presence in the South China Sea to bolster those sovereignty claims that China is making. And in some cases, it seems as though some of these fishing vessels aren't even fishing. And so they're likely to be maritime militia vessels, which are getting paid to just assert some kind of presence in the area and not necessarily needing to fish.
Without proper oversight and with many fisheries around the world in decline, China's massive fishing fleets will continue to venture further and deeper in search of their next catch.
Okay, so remember that was 2020.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's if you do illegal fishing in China, it's like you might get an administrative fine. That's it.
You're more likely to get congratulated.
Yeah, you're gonna get like a medal.
Yes.
They'll be like, well done.
Yes.
Well,
because they're militias.
Yeah. But okay, it gets a little bit more in depth. So I thought we'd go through this because this is a last year, 2023. Okay.
2 years.
Sorry, 2 years ago. It shows you. Well, it's December, so it's kind of clear. Okay, so 2 years ago. Ocean analysis shows China's fishing fleet swarms Galapagos, then disappears from sight. A new Oceania analysis released today shows that China's massive distant water fleet flocks to the water surrounding the Galapagos Islands, then frequently disappears from public view by appearing to disable public tracking devices. Oceania's analysis shows that in the area surrounding the exclusive economic zone, that's the protected zone around the Galapagos, vessels flagged to China primarily fish for squid. The country's fishing fleet was identified by the National Oceanic blah, blah, blah for illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. That's what IUU fishing means. Illegal, unreported, and unregulated. And human rights abuses. The United States imported more than $686 million worth of squid from China and Hong Kong over the past 5 years. Now, this is where you might actually be complicit in this. And I don't want to be one of those guilt guys. I'm not trying to put guilt on anyone because people aren't aware. No. Here's the thing. When you go to the shopping mall or whatever, your supermarket, and you go buy seafood, if it says product of China, don't
Never buy
it.
product of China. In fact, I watched some fish YouTube channels that literally watch the Canned Fish Files, which is a guy that reviews canned fish. It's the best channel on YouTube. I'm not even joking.
All right.
He, when he looks at it, sometimes he'll point out like where it's from. And I started doing that myself. I look around when I buy any sort of fish or seafood products. I make sure it's not product of China. Number one, it's going to taste like shit if it is because the quality's poor.
And it's probably canned in like a
canning
terrible
practices
place.
are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And number two, it's completely unethical.
Yes, because you are fueling this demand for them to go out and strip the seas because when they fish, they do it in a very unethical way. And there's no way for you to prove that whatever fish you've bought from the supermarket wasn't illegally caught within the Galapagos protected zone or whatever.
Yes, correct.
Anyway, I did want to read this. I put this up here so we can read it together and just go over it, okay? The Oceania's analysis shows that in the surrounding areas around the Galapagos, vessels flagged to China's primary fish... Okay, we did that, sorry. In addition to vessels flagged to China disabling their tracking devices, their analysis documents China's fleets engaging in potential encounter events with other vessels known as transshipments. Now, this is super important, okay? Transshipment occurs when fishing vessels meet with refrigerated cargo ships at sea to transfer their catch instead of coming into port, which can hide illicit activity by mixing legal and illegal catches. So this is one of the biggest problems, is that China sends out a big refrigerated cargo ship to those cities on the sea.
Yeah.
So normally what will happen is you'll have a fishing vessel goes out, does its trawling, catches a bunch of fish, and then goes back to port to unload.
Correct.
Okay? And during the time it goes back to port, it kind of gives the fish a little bit of time to recover. At least breathe a sigh of relief and be like, okay, let's breed a little bit. Let's try to procreate, whatever. Let's repair. But not with the Chinese fishing fleets, because they never go back to port. They stay out on the sea non-stop. And when these big refrigerated things come out, they resupply them. They take their entire catch, take it back to China while they continue to fish, and then they come back again. And as you'll see in this report, I'll just skip forward, one of the vessels that these guys were tracking actually stayed out at sea for, where was it? Like 2 years, more than 2 years, 637 days. See, it says one squid jigger flagged to China appeared to participate in multiple encounter events that allowed it to stay out at sea for almost 2 years. 637 days. The vessel had 25 potential encounter events with carrier vessels during this period. So imagine that, staying non-stop fishing for 2 years while you just keep being resupplied and they keep taking your fish. There's no chance for that area to recover.
No.
It's non-stop.
It's almost on purpose. It's like, I want to delete. It's like loot and plunder from Captain Planet.
It is. And I mean, I just wanted to, again, let everybody out there know that the way China does things is in an unsustainable manner like this.
Yes.
It's like strip mining.
Yes.
They just want to take everything, and they use those bright lights to attract the fish, grab them all up, fill their hold up with the squid or whatever. The big tanker thing comes, they've loaded up. And continue to fill up. It's non-stop. And it's in these protected areas around the Galapagos because they've already outfished all of the marine life around China and in Asia. They've decimated Vietnam's fish stocks and all the Philippines, everywhere around there's suffering.
You're next.
And around Africa too. The local fishermen in Africa, the little dudes who get on a little raft and go out there and throw a net or whatever.
Just to stay alive.
Yeah. They're screwed because a big tanker pulls up next to them and just trawls everything up and there's nothing left.
Yeah.
It's
they're raping the world.
It is so bad. I've made multiple videos about this, but everybody just seems to ignore this issue.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Do you have any more material here? Because I have a couple solutions.
Yeah, I mean, I might have one thing that I wanted to show here. China's colossal distant water fishing fleet is monopolizing the world's oceans. This fleet is emptying the waters surrounding the Galapagos of marine life, disappearing from the public eye and fueling unregulated fishing practices beyond the horizon. The United States imports a significant amount of seafood from China, and there's no guarantee that what reaches American plates came from safe and responsibly sourced practices. In fact, there's no guarantee that it was not caught through unscrupulous activities at sea. China's intense fishing operations around the world not only raise serious questions about the fleet's impact on the oceans, but also on the United States' tacit participation in supporting potential human rights violations and IUU fishing activities. I just wanted to put that out there, not as a guilt trip, but maybe just a little bit of education so people can not participate in this.
So my solutions.
Yes.
Don't buy product of China. You should know that if you're watching this channel, but if you're new, don't buy product of China, especially when it comes to anything involving animals.
Yes.
Especially sea life. Number 2, Greenpeace and international organizations that do environmental work, get on this.
Yes.
Get on this.
The hell's wrong with you guys?
What are you doing?
They're like,
get on it now.
This cow fart or something, and they like giving some shit to
let's
Dutch
not demean
farmer.
it. Maybe they are doing some good.
But priorities, man.
Priorities here.
Priorities.
The earth will die.
Yeah.
Number 3, administrations around the world that consider China an adversary. This is a good point to latch on to.
Yeah.
This is a good, if you want to put some pressure, deal with this.
Yeah.
This is a moral victory that could win you a lot of points. Number 2, it would save the world.
Yeah.
And number 3, I think there should be a humane way to do this, where you go out there and you warn the fishermen.
Yeah.
If they are not warned, You retrieve them off the boat and you sink the boat on
Artificial reef.
You sink the boat on site.
It's the only way.
You get them, obviously, remove the person. Like,
yes.
You arrest them, put them on the boat. Sink every last one of these things until the world can heal.
Yeah, I agree.
Sink them all.
That's a great idea. It really needs to happen. I mean, take a look at this one statistic here. China is by far the world's largest fishing nation. Per a recent Oceania analysis, with the distant water fishing fleet comprised of more than 11,000 vessels, definitely more than that appeared to fish more than 9.9 million hours worldwide between January 1st, 2021 and August 31st, 2023. The sum of the next four fleets, largest fleets, Taiwan, South Korea, and the United States and Japan, is still less than the total number of distant water vessels flagged to China. I mean, the whole world combined fishes less and has less of an impact and has a smaller fleet than China's fishing fleet. It's out of control.
Right.
Just like China builds all these coal power plants all the time, and everyone's just ignoring that because they say, "Oh, green tech and
we'll
buy
do it
this."
later.
Yeah. Same with, you saw how their 5-year plan, we'll make it sustainable. No, they didn't.
You increased it.
This is in 2023, the end of 2023 was this report to show you how much worse it is. And now you're seeing the pictures from the International Space Station. It's worse and it hasn't gotten better. And China lied like it always does. Like it said that it would leave.
Always will.
It said it would leave Hong Kong alone. You know?
It said that it would protect the world against COVID and that COVID didn't come from China.
Mm-hmm. It also said it wouldn't militarize the islands in the South China Sea that it built.
That's now our bases.
Yeah, I mean, come on. China always lies. The Chinese government has never, ever kept its word.
No.
You know?
You are true.
Anyway, enough of my grandstanding, but guys, please, that is a huge issue, and I think we should all be paying attention to that.
agree.
At least raise awareness about it, you know? You can go look up those articles, you know, you can maybe talk about it with your family. I don't know. Next time your mom goes to get groceries, tell her don't buy the thing, or next time you go to get groceries, or your dad or whatever, say, hey, listen, if it says product of China, leave it on the shelf.
Yep.
Support your local fishermen.
Agreed.
You know? Anyway.
Totally agree.
I remember you.
90s or now?
Yes. Let's take a look. This one is
90.
Let's see. Yes.
This is now.
I'm going to go 90s. Let's take a look.
And you're right.
This is probably going to be 90s. Yeah,
90s.
there we go. Here we got Shanghai in the 90s, and it's kind of
It's
interesting because
wild,
you're used
isn't
to
it?
seeing the Bund with all those skyscrapers. So this is 80s and 90s in Taiwan.
感冒咳嗽，请用急治
Chinese
Cough
medicine,
medicine.
cough medicine.
I'm curious as to why somebody would make a knockoff of Mount Rushmore. Dude, that's so lame. Oh, you missed the spot. She's like, oh, I can breathe again.
You like watching 65-year-old women take off their pants?
Let me just go back into the recesses of my mind. And you're like, yes, perfect. Where are the tissues?
Oh, come on.